Hey everyone, it's Chloe at the Chloe Way. Exams are approaching and I want to help you with your poetry revision. So today I've got a video on how to smash the context of romantic poets. So that's Blake, Wordsworth, Shelley and Keats. All of these are the poets you've studied from what's known as the Romantic movement or era. Now, we know that every exam board cares about context being included in your answer. And these particular poets are from a very specific period in time that all believed in certain ideals. So it's absolutely crucial that you have an understanding for what was going on at the time these poets were writing. Okay, so these poets, as part of a wider era or time period with musicians and artists across Europe, were creating poetry from the late 18th to the early 19th century. So that's approximately from 1789 to 1850. And what were they doing or trying to achieve? Now this is a little more tricky to define, and so we will go through a few elements of what these poets were trying to do to help break it down from an overview to how wider social movements impacted them, to how they generally wrote their poetry. This will all help you to understand just what it is that these poets are trying to do with their words. So the basic motto of the Romantic poets, as summed up by philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, is "Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains." Essentially meaning that our lives aren't free. We must act a certain way to abide by the rules. And Romantic poets really showed this as they challenged the establishment, that is the government and the monarchy, who created strict laws that didn't seem fair for all. They had a desire for liberty and freedom so that people could act in ways that they wanted without judgment. They believed in the importance of the individual, their hopes and dreams and desires, not just in the good of the rich staying rich and the poor staying poor. And finally, they firmly believed that people should follow their own ideals instead of rules and conventions that society created. So in short, they wanted to break free from the chains of society and this idea of what is and isn't acceptable. Now, the time that these poets were writing was a time of anarchy, violence and rebellion across various parts of the world. For the UK, the main focus was, however, the French Revolution of 1789. You'll notice that this year pretty much marked the beginning of Romanticism. So the French Revolution began with the storming of the Bastille, wherein an angry and aggressive mob attacked the prison known as the Bastille. So this prison had become a symbol of the way that the monarchy had become almost of a dictatorship. So that means everyone had to abide by their rules no matter how unfair. And this storming of the Bastille marked the beginning of a bloody battle between the people on one side and the establishment on the other. Eventually, it led to the overthrowing of the monarchy and setting up of a republic, but not before a long and violent clash on both sides. And you must understand that this event worried the UK government for fear of similar acts because of our proximity to France. So many Romantic poets in turn showed problems in society on our side of the Channel, and some were quite sympathetic towards these revolutionaries in France, whereas some sort of condemned their acts and wanted a gentler way of protesting some of the problems and unfairness coming from the establishment. Now, poets, in a less bloody and violent way, a lot of them, like I say, wanted similar things to the French rebellions. They wanted a regeneration of the world. And they suggested that we should start again, and they wanted us to start again with a childlike perspective. So essentially a fresh view of the world, unbound by these chains or like societal rules and conventions. So the Romantics were inspired by the environment, this fresh and pure thing in our world. And they tried to encourage people, so that includes our reader, to venture into new territories. And that's both physical, so to go physically to new places, and metaphorically, so maybe to transcend what you normally think and move into these new spaces for new ideals. So for example, the boat stealing scene from Wordsworth's Prelude, he's there both physically and metaphorically exploring new places. And this moves nicely into what the sublime is. Now, romantics were kind of infatuated with this sensation. So it's something where we are said to feel when looking upon an awesome, and that is awe-inspiring, landscape. So, for example, a huge mountain wherein you feel so small and weak by comparison. It's also something that we feel when we are in an extreme situation that elicits both fear and admiration. So we might think of elements of this in Ozymandias, although I'm not sure Shelley's admiration is for this king, as much as it is for the decay of such dictatorships and monarchies that make everybody abide by their rules. Because Shelley was known for antagonising the establishment and for being very critical of the monarchy. So we need to consider what it is that Shelley seems to fear and also what he seems to admire at the same time. And finally, just as the sublime incorporates opposites, romantic poets frequently use opposites in their poetry. So seriously, take another look at To Autumn, London, the Prelude or Ozymandias. Opposites are everywhere. So I mean, like Blake, the author of London, released a poetry collection called Innocence and Experience, which are evident opposites. And these romantics believe that we all encounter conflicting emotions, experiences and ordeals, and they portray these throughout their poetry. However, they also conjecture that life is all about this delicate balance of pleasure and pain. So they know that every individual will experience both in life, and we must be reconciled with that. The individual must accept both aspects of life. So now what I'd like you to do is go back over these romantic poets that you studied in class and look out for these various elements. They can all offer a way to look at the poetry through the lens of social and historical context, which is seriously high-level stuff if you can seamlessly marry the two. So good luck in your revision, check out my other videos for more help, and please do request anything that you would like. And check out my website for any more tailored information, for more information on tailored revision. Okay, see you soon!